I'll go toe to toe for my Chiefs. And so, there'll be comments. And so I'll say something. And then, of course, somebody thinks because I'm a woman that likes the Chiefs, obviously I'm a Swiftie. Has to be Taylor Swift, not because I actually love football and know about it. I think that's probably the biggest barrier is that people don't think that you know or understand or care enough. And so that I kind of like being able to prove people wrong in that capacity because they'll say something and then I'll hit them with, okay, so what happened in 2025 or, this and that. And then it's like, okay, nothing.
Crickets.
Okay, check my profile and then come holler at me.
Welcome back to Blog Access 101. I'm your host, Rob. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify by searching Blog Access 101. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. This is episode 307. Later today, my special guests, Kina and Sha-Ron, hosts of Polished Playbook Pod. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Can't complain. It's finally a little warmer in Philadelphia, so that's always good.
City.
It finally start warming up a little bit over there, or?
It's back and forth. That's what they want to do.
It's fun. Tomorrow's going to be 60.
Must be nice. You said tomorrow's going to be 60?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. I thought we had it bad because earlier, like a couple weeks ago, it was like 80, which is rare in Philly. But then it went back to like just start snowing the next day. I'm just like, yeah, this is how people get sick.
Yeah.
Okay. But for my listeners and other people just listening for the first time, can you just briefly talk about who you are and who you are both beyond the microphones? And I know, Sha-Ron, you DJ, and then Nina, I know you host a book club and do a lot of reading, which is pretty cool. So just talk about like other aspects outside of doing a podcast and then your normal careers.
Okay. Well, my name is Sha-Ron. I go by DJ Diamond Diva. I've been a DJ for over 15 years. That's something I love. I've had the privilege to DJ for some pretty important folks. I like to say MC Light, one of the queens, Juvenile, 2 Chainz. So a little bit, I got a little bit of experience. In addition to that, I am a wife and a mom. I'm a registered nurse, graduated from Mizzou. And so that's just kind of a little bit of my personal background. I'm a big family person, hanging out with my family and friends, of course, shopping like all girls do, right? But outside of that, and what kind of fuels my passion for the podcast is just I'm a sports girly. So I've always kind of loved sports since I was little, followed it closely. And while I didn't play professionally, I cheerleaded, but I cheerleaded. That's kind of a fun fact for me. I started cheerleading because I liked sports so much. I said I can go to all the games for free if I cheer, like true story. And so, yeah, that's just part of me, I guess. Just I'm competitive. I love that type of stuff. I mean, I guess that's roughly about it. Like I said, I have kiddos, a doggy, creator. That's right. How can I forget? So in addition to all those things, I'm a content creator and I also work for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Talk good talk. Yeah.
It's like, what else do I say? Look, I got it.
I add that for you. You forgot.
I know. It's so many things.
Yeah.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, so I'm Kina. I go by Nailz Novelz because of the nails and because of the books. So like Sha-Ron, I'm also a content creator. And I'm an avid reader. So that's where the books come in. We're not going to get into how many books I read last year. It's astronomical. It's a tons, but I enjoy reading. I do have a book club here in Kansas City called the Main Character Society. Other than that, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, a queen, basically. I do it all. So and I know. And I love sports down. Basketball is my favorite. I played, not past high school, but I played basketball and volleyball. So sports is, and I come from a sports family. I have family members that have played professional basketball. So I just love all sports. And I love being able to talk about not just men's sports, but women's sports on our platform. And I love to be able to do it with this one.
I think I saw it like on one podcast. I think you did on one of your podcasts talking about like over 200 books in a year that you read. I was like, sheesh.
Yeah, it wasn't over 200. It was 123.
That would be.
I know it was a high number because I think it was on the episode you did with the player from the Kansas City soccer team. And I was like, sheesh.
That's incredible.
I was like, I said I need to start reading more.
Yeah.
What inspired you to create a sports podcast specifically? And what gap in the sports media space did you feel the Polished Playbook Pod could fill?
I can take the first part of this. We were both, Sha-Ron has been doing like guests on podcasts for a while talking about sports. I've always wanted my own podcast and I never knew what I wanted it to be about. But once we became friends and we just started yapping about our love and our passion for sports, we were like, hey, why don't we do a podcast? And it wasn't a long talk about it. It was like, let's do this podcast. Okay, we're going to select this date to start, and we started. So it was just us wanting to be able to have a space where we can voice not only our opinion about sports, but our actual knowledge about sports. So that's one reason why. What do you think?
The other reason is mainly, like I said, it is fueled by passion. It's something that we love to do. We talk about, I always say on my podcast, when I'm on anybody else's, sports to me is actually a love language. It's something that I enjoy. Like me and my husband will sit back and we can talk sports all day. We'll turn it on as a relaxation thing. So for me, it's just something that's part of my everyday. And so to be able to talk about that, it's just something I've always wanted to do. And so, like I said, I think in terms of the void that maybe is lacking in Kansas City, and while there are a lot of people who, of course, like sports, Kansas City is becoming, I feel like, a huge hub for sports. We've got one of the best football teams, our soccer team as well. So we're gaining more notoriety on a national level for sports. So there's a lot of people that want to talk and just be saying something to say something. But in terms of women here locally in Kansas City, minority women in Kansas City that actually know what they're saying, have facts and stats to back up what they're saying versus just having an opinion, I think that's the difference. I haven't, and not saying that there aren't any that exist, but I just haven't seen many here locally with two African-American women who know the game, who love it, and can tie everything together. So I think that's the difference. Just us, our delivery, what we're able to bring to the table is kind of, I haven't seen that here in KC. So I would say we're trailblazers.
We are.
I like to think so.
That's definitely
And
pretty
we're
cool.
goofy, so.
What'd you say?
I said we like to be silly.
No, yeah, definitely seem like you bring like good vibes to like podcasts where you have like different people that you interview as well as keeping engaged when you just talk about regular sports topic. I know y'all was excited about Justin Fields being on the Chiefs. We'll see how that goes because I'm a big Ohio State football fan, so hopefully he
I
gets
think
his
it's gonna go well.
fresh start with you guys. So yeah.
Work with him.
Yeah,
I
I don't think
he
hasn't gotten a chance to really show who he is. So hopefully he can do it here.
Yeah, because probably take Mahomes probably took week 7 or week 8 to come back.
I don't know about that. Have you seen him already throwing passes out there?
Yeah, I'm just saying with that torn ACL, I'm not especially with a player of that magnitude, I'm not rushing him back, especially if Fields comes in and plays well for those, let's say 4 or 5 weeks. And even if he comes in playing well and they're doing well, I would like prolong his wait, just make sure he's fully healthy. Because I was shocked when Jason Tatum came back for the Celtics, and I'm like, yeah, they're trying to rush him back, and I'm like, I wouldn't rush back a player of that caliber. But
I agree. They shouldn't rush him back. But the thing about Pat is he wants to come. Like, I think that's what kind of separates him from everybody else is just that mentality, almost like the Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality. Like, he wants to be out there, wants to be the best. I don't think they should put him out there if he's not ready, and I don't think they will. Rick Burkholder and the staff over there, they wouldn't do that, only be if he's ready. But the way he's looking and how they talking, I don't see it being week 7. No. I think it's going to be before that, before he come back. But as you mentioned, if he isn't ready to go week 1, I know that's his goal is to be back by week 1. But if Justin Fields is doing well, then I agree with you. Just let it coast out, let him heal and recover as long as he can. But I'll tell you what, if it get nasty early, which I don't think it will, because I believe in Justin Fields with our offense and the coaching that he'll be able to maintain, he'll be on back before 7. They're going to be like, come on.
And then y'all finally was able to fix y'all running back issue with Kenneth Walker. So I was shocked they let him go, but I don't think they had a choice because the cap issues they had. So plus he was injury prone, so hopefully he's healthy with you guys. Right. I'm just being honest. I mean, he definitely turned up in the Super Bowl, which kind of made it easy for him to get that big payday in offseason. But other than that, he's off and on because unfortunately I had him in fantasy. That's why I got a love-hate relationship for Kenneth Walker. But, just jumping to the next question. For aspiring podcasters and media members listening, can you walk us through, the process of obtaining media credentials for sporting events? And what steps should someone take to be taken seriously by teams, leagues, or event organizers?
I'll start off because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I should be doing. What were the qualifications? Is there a form I fill out? Do I have to email somebody? So what I did is I looked online, figured out who was in charge of whatever sports and whatever credential, I emailed them introducing ourselves, our podcast, our passion, and then they would get back to me with a link to fill out. And anytime we've done that, we've been approved for the credentials.
It's just essentially, like Kina said, doing the research and then just shooting the shot.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't guarantee that you'll get it,
Right.
but it doesn't guarantee you won't. So essentially, that's just us. Like I said, I believe in us and the experience we both have coming into the podcast as individuals, and then now collectively having have filmed almost 2 months now. So I think that just helps. But like you said,
And Sha-Ron's she's on the radio, so that helps.
Okay, yeah, that definitely helps. Have that, that pull. And like, hey, I work in the radio. They might have this connection. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna jump into that. It was like, how big of it is like, is it who know who, or is it just like you said, just shoot your shot and hopefully, you might hit, and then you might say yes or no.
That I think it's certain circumstances. When Kina, like she mentioned, has reached out, done the research, sent the information on our behalf. We've gotten it based on the qualifications we've had of. In life, it is who you know.
Yeah.
You're able to maybe get certain opportunities because you've built relationships with people. Like I said, me, in terms of getting to the point where now, I have a radio segment where I talk about football and stuff. It's been my relationship with working with the Chiefs, doing that, just having that knowledge, just over time. So I think it's a culmination of both. Sometimes it's favor ain't fair.
Yeah.
I can't, God be blessing sometimes. But I would say that's what it is. Like Kina said, do the research, you reach out. And then in the meantime, while you're waiting for those opportunities, still doing what you can. I know I've made my own segments on social media before I had a podcast, before I started doing what I'm doing. Because I liked that was my passion. I made my content around it. So I would make my own segments where I would talk about the game or what happened or break this down. And so all of that just sharpens your iron. So that way, when you do have opportunities, you can say that, okay, I've done this, or I have this experience or whatever, because you've been working in it already for so long.
Yeah, I'll say, and as far as what we've done, like with the Big 12 and Casey Current, we don't know anybody in those realms. We just sent the email and they were like, get back to us. Volleyball, we've done League One volleyball as well.
Yeah, I just always was curious because I've actually worked with the Commanders, so I know a little bit about how it goes with the NFL.
The Washington Commanders?
Yeah, it was back in like 2015. I don't know if you guys remember like Hard Knocks, when it was that like huge fight between Washington and Houston.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was like much worse than what they showed on HBO. Yeah. But it was definitely funny. This when I was fresh out of college, undergrad, so it was definitely a fun experience. But yeah, I know like how like sometimes it's like hard to get in, like being like a relative new podcast, or just even coming from radio. Sometimes they might be scrutinized who they take, just for, like, especially if it's like a bigger event, they might go with the bigger company. And they might keep the person that's been coming faithfully just because this person's been coming faithfully for years. The games that people might other sports companies might not want to cover. So, just like you said, favoritism and connection. But, I know you guys all recently just covered the 2026 Big 12 Women's Tournament. What was that credential experience and what was like being there in person covering women's college basketball?
Well, the credential part is just the same thing. Like just shooting your shot. I sent an email. They responded right away, sent me a link, and we were approved right away. Now, as far as the experience, it was a vibe. Like I enjoyed just being around other media people and just being in the press conference after the games and just being up close and personal with the players, being able to ask questions, just being in those different spaces that isn't seen by other people was really cool. What about you?
I say the same. Just like you said, the overall being able to be in the room with the Fox 4 News and all of that, and then other people who have been doing this for a while, and to actually network with them, kind of talk to them. And then, like I said, just being familiar in that space, because I always say, this is the beginning. Like, this is going to be normal in a moment. Like, this is a milestone because this was our first experience, but it's definitely not the last. And so I think just being around that group of people and having that experience doesn't do anything but just inspire us more, motivate us, and get a feel for how to operate, because I haven't had any, I have a degree. I don't have a journalism degree. So just in terms of the decorum, how things operate, just kind of getting that experience has been invaluable.
I know you said you guys have enjoyed like interviewing players during the post game. Like, do you guys simply do like the generic question, or do you like try to ask like questions like out of the blue, like I know you guys asked the one girl on our podcast like her favorite playlist, which I thought was a pretty interesting question. Like you guys said, you can learn a lot about a person through what type of music they listen to. So do you guys ask like a generic question? Do you ask questions like you think outside the box and like, oh, they actually took time to realize who we were, not just an athlete, but as a person as well?
Yeah, I think you do your research, and it should be a blend of the sport and the person. So it's always good to know both sides. So usually, like you had a question at the volleyball game, and you asked a technical question. So it's like I like to have a little of both because that's who we are. We aren't like we're not ESPN. We love sports, but we also like to get to know the athlete behind the jersey. So we like to ask all kinds of questions.
So simply, sports media has historically been male dominated. What barriers or challenges have you personally faced as a woman working in sports media, and how have you both been able to navigate it?
Personally, I haven't had any direct barriers that I've seen. For the most part, like I said, I've been blessed to have certain opportunities and things of that nature. I will say just in general, being a woman and we know how social media is. I'll go toe to toe for my Chiefs. And so, there'll be comments. And so I'll say something. And then, of course, somebody thinks because I'm a woman that likes the Chiefs, obviously I'm a Swiftie. Has to be Taylor Swift, not because I actually love football and know about it. And so, you'll have those people. I think that's probably the biggest barrier is that people don't think that you know or understand or care enough. And so that I kind of like being able to prove people wrong in that capacity because they'll say something and then I'll hit them with, okay, so what happened in 2025 or, this and that. And then it's like, okay, nothing.
Crickets.
Check my profile and then come holler at me. So I just think that that's the biggest thing is just still overcoming that falsehood of, well, because you're a woman, you have to be in it because either the fashion or the wives or whatever. No, you can actually genuinely know and understand and love the sport as a woman. So I would say that's been my biggest thing.
Yeah.
Combating that.
I haven't had any issues. It's just like, you can still be the pretty face with the knowledge. So that's the whole thing. People may think that we don't know what we're talking about because we're women, but a lot of times I know more than the next. So
And once you start dropping the fact, like you talking about year 25, and then that's when they start shutting up. Like,
yeah,
all right.
well, Patrick Mahomes ain't okay. So who's your favorite quarterback? Okay, so let's see how they compared. And in Patrick's worst year, I bet that he was right up there with your quarterback who went to the playoffs. So what you talking about?
I love arguing WNBA stuff with men. It's
Oh yeah, the casual, everybody, the new WNBA fans out the blue. I've been a fan since my homegirl was in the league. That's when I started being a fan. Like obviously I watched it, of course, when Dawn Stilly played, but I was a little kid, and so I don't know too much about that. But like my homegirl played in the league now, so I cheer for whatever team she's on.
Team is she on?
The Liberty, Natasha Cloud. Yeah, so yeah.
What's her name?
You said Jacquel?
No, not Natasha Cloud.
I love.
Yeah, she crazy. She definitely simmered out since high school, but yeah. So that's why I only watch it with them. But then I start watching more like college women's basketball lately. So definitely was big for them to finally get that CBA deal done.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I thought Kathy was definitely gonna mess it up, but
I had to
somebody
say,
talked to the source.
what are we doing? So I'm just glad they stood on business for what they wanted. I really love that, and I'm glad they got it.
Yeah, when I seen the 20%, then of course the women not being traded when they pregnant, I was like, sadly, I was like, you shouldn't even have to put that in the contract.
Right.
I thought that was like a no brainer, but unfortunately, it's not. So from your perspective, how can men be better allies for women in sports, whether that's in media or leadership roles?
Just give us the space. Like I think, like we said off top, sometimes like, oh, you're a woman, you don't know what you're talking to. Sometimes listen in. Sometimes watch more women's sports and learn a little bit about women in general, but just give us the opportunity to speak our piece or to have those debates because we don't always have to agree, but just having a conversation of two people that are talking about whether it's basketball, soccer, football, and now for me, racing. I mean, you just never know what we know.
Girly.
I'm a racing girly now, thanks to Michael Jordan.
Okay, yeah. That's what's up there. I tried to get in NASCAR a few times. I'm just like, yeah, this is John too. Like I play golf, but I can't really watch it. Like obviously except the Masters, but other than that, it's like, yeah, this is a little bit too slow for me.
Yeah. What about you?
No, I think that's a good answer. I would just say advocacy. You know what I mean? Like just being supportive in public spaces and also in private spaces, but in public spaces, and just bringing more awareness. More support that women are out here doing the dang thing. I would say that's probably the biggest thing is just continue support and advocacy.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we've seen improvement, but we still have like ways to go. Obviously, hopefully, like I said earlier, the CBA agreement hopefully is a the snowball effect to help even more women's sports. Like obviously, soccer is one of the main women's sports that help that continues to grow as well. Not just obviously we know on the athletic fans wide, but I'm talking about like financially specifically.
Right.
So hopefully these leagues, other leagues, take suit and follow with the groundwork that the WNBA. Well, I don't want to say WNBA, the WNBA Players Association started.
Yeah.
But yeah, sports fans and media voices. What's been one of the biggest highs you experienced in sports, as well as one of the lowest moments in sports that's currently stuck with you?
Well, I'd say one of the highs for me was getting a Super Bowl ring. I mean, I don't think it gets any better than that, at least for me. Like I mentioned, I've been blessed to be able to work for the Chiefs organization. And so with that, getting the Super Bowl ring, actually being able to go to a Super Bowl, this is probably my low.
What? This year?
No. So prior to working for the organization in general, I was like contracted in during COVID. So that's kind of how I got to meet everybody and how I built that relationship to actually transition to a full-time associate with them. But I mentioned I was a registered nurse. And so during COVID, we were responsible for all of the testing for every single player, coach, staff. We would travel at times, and then we also did other sports as well. But I got the nod that, hey, you get to go work the Super Bowl. This is the year that the Chiefs, of course, were balling. We were poised to go back. Championship game, lost. I don't know. We just fell apart in overtime. We lost to the Bengals. That's the year the Bengals went and played the Rams. That's the Super Bowl. Had the Chiefs gone, I would have been there. But because of my job, I got to go anyway. So it was a great time, a great experience to say I went to a Super Bowl, got the inside scoop, got to meet Emmitt Smith and all those people. But I was sad because I'm like, all of this stuff I see, like the hotel, like it's just an explosion of football down there. And I'm like, this was supposed to be my team. Like we were literally this, like, that would have been the top of the world to get the Super Bowl with your team, like on the field with your team at the Super Bowl is insane. But it didn't happen. So I went without him. So that's probably the low. But the high would be able to be receiving a ring as an employee and as a fan of the game.
Dope.
I'll probably be back next year.
Sure.
I think we will. And me and Kina
we're going to be there.
Hopefully,
clock it. That's another. We talk about media.
Yeah, hopefully we get back right and see y'all again. But it's 1-1 this year so far between us. But Kina?
As far as a low, like I don't really have lows. I just don't. That's not a part of my ministry is having lows, but I don't have any yet lows in sports. I mean, I played sports, I guess losing some games, but I wasn't that great. I'm not gonna say I wasn't that great of a player. I'm not gonna do that to myself. It just wasn't as important to me as actually watching sports. But as a high, it's just being able to do this podcast, honestly, because I feel like it's us, it's who we are, and we're able to talk about whatever we want to talk about and just be ourselves. Now, I'm waiting to hear back from the Lakers on media credentials because I did reach out. It's the same thing. I sent an email. They responded to me like, thanks for whatever. They sent me the link. So I'm going there in a couple weeks. So I'm waiting to hear back from that. So that may be my high. When, and I'm gonna say when, I'm gonna say if, when I get that approval.
For the Lakers, would you just go to send it out to their communications team, or you just go into their media department, or?
I would send it out to their communications. I found the person and I sent them an email and they responded. Some with the Lakers, I didn't think anybody was gonna respond, but that is my team. So I'm excited.
It's all about that time. And when they look at the email at a specific time, like, all right, I saw it.
Yeah.
So what are your next moves for the Polished Playbook Pod, and what's the long-term vision you have of growing you guys' platform?
I'll say the next moves are continue to grow. We're still young within our podcast together. Thankful for, like I said, approaching 8 episodes now.
Yeah, we just filmed our 8th.
Yeah, so just continuing to grow, continue to have guests. We're working on a lineup for more athletes to come on with us. And then ultimately the goal would be to extend this beyond Kansas City. Of course, I feel like you got to take the city first. So once we begin to be known as an establishment here in Kansas City, our ultimate goal would be to take that further. And I would love to be on television at some point. That would be a great goal. And if not, just still, like you said, big in the media space where not just locally, but all over, everybody knows who the Polished Playbook is. And we're a trusted, incredible media source for those that love football and basketball and all the sports.
Yeah, so exactly what she said.
So, Most definitely. And it's always good to have your own platform because you can say what you want and don't have to worry about anybody trying. You can't say this, you can't say that. And that's why I also love doing mine. For like now, like I do the sports one now. I want to branch out doing like one-on-one interviews, like I'm going with you guys and others, which I think is pretty interesting. Like to add like another value to our podcast. But that's pretty cool. Kina, did you want to add on to that?
No, I mean that's it. That's the goal. That's the goal to be a household name. That's what we want to
I know
do. We
that's
got
right.
merch coming and everything.
Yeah, y'all moving up there. I saw you did. I think you guys did like at the Big 12 tournament live podcast. Was that Riley's house?
Yes,
Yeah, we did it
everyone
with
was
Starter and the Big 12.
How was that?
more of that too. Oh man,
That was so fun.
that was really cool.
That was so fun. Soon, hopefully soon we can release that episode.
Yes. So that's another high.
That is a high.
That's another high because, like I said, they had the full production team, making sure the audio visual was correct and doing the little, like when he did the little, what you call it?
Clipboard action.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God. So that was, like I said, a huge moment. It gave us a lot of experience to just do that live and on the fly. And so that's something else we plan to do again as well. Do another, more than one, I'm sure, live recordings. And then, like I said, just kind of keep going.
I'm sure you guys have to get there pretty soon. You're already making traction by the Lakers responding. Soon y'all be doing the Olympics.
Hey.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's funny because if I was like, I know World Cup was coming to Philly, but I was out in Seattle last week for work, and they were the lady, my Uber driver. She's telling me, I was like, I thought it was just Philly, but I'm like, oh, I guess you got to have all these countries different. So that's pretty cool that they're doing it in different cities and states as well, because a lot of countries. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
I definitely got to come out against Kansas City eventually for a football game. I'm gonna do it like around September, October at the latest, because y'all winter's a little brutal.
Yeah.
It's a great time. Make sure you tailgate.
I should have came when the Eagles came when we played that one year, but I was just so busy with my dissertation I didn't have time. And I said, hopefully we come back again, or I just catch another game that's going to be pretty good when you guys play somebody at home.
Best tailgating experiences in the world. Like I said, I was at one of the games and I got to meet some of the nurses from the Dallas team. This is during COVID time, and they were like, "There's nothing like this." Like a lot of people say, it's different in Kansas City.
Okay, all right, I'll take your word for it. Did you guys want to add anything that we already didn't talk about? And also, where can people find you on social media?
Well, they can find us at the Polished Playbook Pod on Instagram. We have streaming on iHeartRadio, on YouTube. I love YouTube because I like the visual aspect of it. But if you just want to listen when you're on the go, you can tune in on iHeartRadio, Amazon, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Am I missing any of them?
All of them. Anywhere you get your podcast from, we're there.
If you want to tap in with us individually, my handle is at DJ Diamond Diva, and that's on all social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, you name it. And then Kina?
Nailz Novelz. So it's with a Z, not an S. So Nailz and Novelz all across all platforms. We have a website too, thepolishedplaybookpod.com. I just woke up one morning and said, let me design a website. And that's what I did.
I'm sure a lot of people, I'll be on Thread, a lot of people are always looking for book clubs out there.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely good that you created your own to have the avenue for women and everybody else to read, which is pretty good because I feel like this country needs to do a lot more reading because you go to other countries we're kind of
not me, I'm good. Y'all need to read.
But like the country as a whole.
Yeah, and they need prayer. So
yeah, definitely. But definitely appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you for having us. We appreciated any opportunity, like I said, to get our name out there and exposure. We definitely are humble and appreciate that so much. And if anybody is watching, just tune in because we have a good time. Hopefully you kind of got an idea of how we roll from this interview. We just like to have a lot of fun with it. Like I said, every Tuesday, we do our recordings. And like I said, we don't do ours live unless we're like in person, but we get it chopped up. We put our little fun spin on it. And I feel like it's a really enjoyable show. So make sure you check us out if you haven't already.
Every Friday, 10 a.m. That's usually when we release them.
We'll see. We'll maybe tinkle with that a bit because sports is just but right now in this off season we're every Friday, but we're always going to be every single week, every week.
I love the consistency, but appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.